We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully, your day is going well. By the time you hear this, it will be Monday. It'll be
Ah,
Monday when you hear this with Will and I. Um, so I'm a little ahead of the game, which is good. But whenever we have Will on, it's going to be timely. And since we're just coming out of a weekend, there's a lot of bullshit to talk about. And Will was a little wired up about it, and I don't blame him. I'm a little unnerved by it too. So how you doing, Will?
doing okay. As everyone can see, there's no sound of fan, so I'm out of the garage. Families in Atlanta because they're having the summer English Premier League does a tour, and they're going to be at the Mercedes-Benz stadiums for 2 games. And my daughter and my son, our kids, were big fans of the EPL since the '90s, so they're going to enjoy that day. So I have the run of the house. So everyone, this is the upstairs part of the house without fans, and
Well, it's
just
kind of fun now that the family's away, they allow you, well, they don't necessarily allow you back in the house. They just don't know you're back in the house. But you get to sleep indoors. That's a plus.
it's a plus. I do sleep indoors. I just can't do this stuff indoors. And the garage is my office, and it's been, the heat index in Georgia has been like 104 till recently.
Wow.
Today's the first day it's tamped down, and tomorrow it's going to rain. So you get one of other, six of one, half a dozen of the other. But I reached out to you because there's a lot of stuff going on, especially around the labor statistics things, the tariffs, ICE and their little minions, something going on in the Defense Department that just dropped. But before we came on, the Senate approved Janine Pereiro as the federal prosecutor of DC. Judge Janine.
Wow.
My video is up on it, and it's pretty simple. You must be out of your goddamn mind. This woman
Well,
is a election denier. She's a Trump humper to the extreme, and now she's part of the most one of the most powerful federal offices in the country at this point.
but you got the same with Emil Bove and um Elena Cannon or whatever the hell her name is. We've got a lot of pretty fucked up judges. I've said this before. No matter where you look, whether it be the Supreme Court, the judicial system, Congress, the presidency, it's all fucking broke. I mean, it's all completely just discombobulated, to use a weird word, but there's nothing working properly in our system of government anymore, and that should be troubling to a lot of folks.
It's but because they let them take it apart. Because
Yeah.
normally, even a president with a Congress in his in their Congress in their same party pushed back because in the old days, Congress used to take being the second branch of government seriously. They don't.
No.
They don't. They think they're just doing what Trump tells them. And the hardest thing right now is that again, town hall meetings are coming up. You're seeing these congressmen come home, and it's the same bullshit. One congressman was basically they're telling him Medicaid had a work requirement. No, it didn't. And then this guy goes off and says, children should be working. And if you're old, you know what? You don't want to stay home, do nothing. You should be out working too. And I'm watching that guy. He's in his 40s and 50s. And I thought, motherfucker, you probably never done a hard day's work in your life.
You know, you
You
know,
probably
you,
never sweat at all.
you know what I think we should do is if we're going to do that with help to elderly or young people, if we're going to continue to give corporate welfare and tax breaks to wealthy people, they should pick some fucking peas or some strawberries a couple hours a week at least. They should try to earn their fucking keep.
They had some asshole on Fox News talking about they should have kids in the fields picking blueberries because the government doesn't allow them because it's a summer job. I'm like going, you have no idea what to do agriculture works like.
Do they understand that you can't just because you say kids 12 can work, you can't make them work. It's really up to the parents. Now, if the parents are fucked up and let them work, that's one thing. But you can't make a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old go work in the
They,
fucking fields unless mom and dad say so.
I think they're trying to figure out a way to do it as some part of maybe school or something. These are some sick motherfuckers running around right now.
Yeah.
They have no concept of reality. We're all nothing to them but a serf workforce, a
Yeah.
serfdom. That's the way they want it. But the problem is that's not going to work in an economy. It doesn't work like that. And that's the problem we're dealing right now with the Trump administration and what's going on with the economy. And the biggest thing that worries me above all this is what happened when the jobs reports came out.
Yeah.
The jobs reports were tracking. All the economists knew this was going to be it. They knew it from GDP. They knew about from the stagflation numbers. They knew it from tariff layoffs that the jobs numbers were going to be bad. They were warning you. They knew it. Job numbers come out, they were bad. In fact, the revised numbers were worse.
Well,
I
can
mean,
you explain to me something? Maybe you don't know this, but my wife was asking me and I could not answer it. They come out with the original figures and inevitably they revise them down. It's not just with Trump, it happened with Biden too. Who puts out the first information and where does that come from? And why does it get revised down to a lesser amount?
because the Bureau of Labor Statistics takes like it's kind of like the CPI index. There's certain core things that consumer price index. Sorry for those who don't know how inflation. So they take core stuff and then they do an average. With labor statistics, they have core labor that they touch first, and then later on, as more information comes in through the month, that's how they revise.
Oh, then why not
So
wait till the end of the month? I mean, some of this stuff that Donald Trump had, it was like 125,000 jobs and they revised it down to 19,000. That's a pretty
because they have
significant difference.
because they have reporting rules, you have to report at this time. You can't put it off. And also, going back to what we're going to talk about in a minute, they don't want people kind of fudging the numbers. They want the first numbers come up. Now we got the base. Now we're going to work back and make sure everything's accurate, so we can have accurate reading. Also, those are also used for GDP numbers, and
Right.
that's our quarterly numbers, and those are always revised and looked at. So it's an ongoing thing. If the job market's strong, it stays strong. Even during the time of Biden, there were times they added more jobs after they
Right.
went through the statistics. What they did with Trump is that, and understand with Trump, there's going to be a lot of not fudging, but information missing because they cut a lot of the federal employees that did a lot of this shit. So they're kind of catching up. But the Bureau, the labor statistics, is a very big key point. Also, to answer the question, Mike, corporations need that for quarterly projections.
Right.
You have to understand the problem with Trump at this point is that you don't, math doesn't lie. Math
Right.
doesn't lie. It doesn't. And you cannot fire the commissioner of Bureau of Statistics because you think she's a Democrat fudging the numbers. She's a statistician. The numbers come in, you run them through, and you run them through the formulas. Because the problem with Trump and all these other assholes, they've never taken a basic accounting class, a basic economic class, statistics at all.
As
I've
I
taken
understood,
each one of those.
as I understand it, the leader, the one that he fired, really doesn't have anything more than the final figures. It's not like she
No,
has her hands on anything. And if she did, it would be pretty obvious.
right. She puts the raw data into the formulas and then puts them out in a readable table,
Right.
in a
Right.
pie chart. You know, that's what statisticians do. They look for trends too. That's their job. And and the thing about it is, all businesses have to do general accepted accounting principles. That's basically your P&Ls, presenting, your what went in and what out. It's every month it has to be done, every quarter it has to be done, every year. The idea being is you got to have a standard way of reporting how businesses are done, because it wasn't done during the Depression. We saw what happened.
Right.
They made up stuff, and a couple of times that companies have been allowed to make up stuff. What was the name of that company in Houston? Oh God, I what's away. MCI did it in the 80s.
Yeah.
One company did it that pretty much almost crashed the entire oil industry in Texas. But then the federal government in the good old days went in there and tightened those up. There was no more no more inside audits. You have to bring an outside accounting audit to make sure everything's right. Every quarter that has to be done, corporations. And the thing about it is these numbers guide what business is going to do moving forward.
Right.
Projection is part of all these numbers in the economy. Good numbers gives you better projection of what you're going to do and how you're going to handle it. Just because you didn't like the numbers doesn't mean you can create numbers out of the air. I want to see what's going to happen next month. How are you going to do it? Where you go? These numbers. Also, a lot of these numbers are independent. Other people will be doing these numbers
Right.
from the federal government. So Trump may come up with some whacked out numbers, and one of his, minions might do it. But I'll guarantee you, there are CFOs across the nation going, "We're going to do our own," because there might be a fake economy, but there'll be a real economy, and they have to live in the real economy at this
Well,
point.
people need to understand how bad it is as far as the jobs goes. Joe Biden created 16 million jobs in 4 years. Prior to that, Donald Trump lost 2.5 million jobs. In these last 3 months, the total, Biden would have 150,000, maybe 200,000, maybe 300,000 in a given month. And those were pretty incredible. What Donald Trump has accomplished in 3 months with the revised down numbers, we're talking 50 to 60,000 new jobs for 3 months.
Right.
That ain't shit. And that
Yep.
that should be a red flag to everybody that that's a problem. So Donald Trump doesn't like hearing that, and he just reacts as an emotional being he is, and he says, "Well, it must be somebody's lying, so I'm going to fire her." I understand that Republicans and Democrats are alike are kind of freaking out about this
Well,
because
you got
that
to
might have
freak
been a
out.
bridge too far.
You got to freak out. Now, I will guarantee you, since this is Monday, when you watch the Sunday shows, since we're recording this on Saturday, that the Treasury Department guy and the Commerce Department guy are going to try to sell you this bullshit. Fox is probably already looking at that poor lady, looking for some kind of connections as part of the deep state. They're going to sell this motherfucker for Trump.
How do you do that though? I mean, it's so absolutely silly. That's the one thing I've
Because
I've always said about Fox and and even the Republicans. Donald Trump says some of the dumbest shit, and then these people have to run around in circles with their hair on fire trying to figure out a way to substantiate some stupid shit that he said.
the Secretary of Defense was a Fox News host.
Yeah.
The Secretary of Transportation was on a reality show. The two men in Treasury and Commerce were money market managers who probably don't really know how to read a P&L sheet now. I don't think they
Right.
do, of just listening to them. The Department of Education, what's left, is the wife of the WWE owner.
Yeah.
Um, we have a DC prosecutor who was on Fox News telling lies about the election. The New Jersey prosecutor has been kind of placed in, but all her she did was do parking lot law. So that's why. That's how.
Yeah.
And they will try to sell it because you and I had a discussion about economics. I'm not an economist, but I like those classes and I paid attention in those classes because also they're historical at the same time.
Right.
Economics, historical. They talk about history because it's part of everything. And everyone's got to understand, and you can't get through the Trumpaflux because what Trump did, he went to the old, it's Biden's fault. It's another Biden appointee trying to fuck me like they try to do in the election. It's stuff that they can understand. I'm talking to you about it. A lot of people who watch these podcasts, you and I, say thanks, that's information, or they understand it.
Right.
The 40% that vote for Trump don't understand it or don't care because they
Yeah, that's
believe
true.
he's the greatest businessman ever to live. He is not.
Well, and by firing this woman, uh, some people think it's just another story, like all the crazy shit that comes out about Donald Trump. But this is kind of a big deal because, like you
It
said,
is.
the information that comes out of that department from that lady is crucial, not only to the government, not only to sell to us, but to independent businesses and those sorts of things. And it affects the economy. And I think there are some Republicans freaking out, thinking, God damn it, this is too far. Because now, here's the problem they have. Anything that comes out on the Epstein files at this point, nobody's going to believe anything they see. Anything
Yes.
that and if the next time the jobs report comes out and it looks good, nobody's believing that. And if
So
you
you
can't
can't
trust
win.
those sources, you're fucked.
And as other people said, remember the biggest problem, the other issue we have to keep in mind, his obsession with Jerome Powell.
Yeah,
He doesn't understand, or maybe he does understand, you don't fuck with the monetary system. The monetary system was designed to be independent for those reasons because interest rates are created by treasury bills. Follow me again, everyone. It's weird. It's weird to listen to old time radio in the 50s push
yeah,
savings bonds.
yeah,
Is that a term many younger people haven't heard? A savings bond. You
yeah,
probably had them. I had them. I
yeah.
had some
You
from
get
the
them when
kids.
you're a little kid. Yeah,
Yeah, my wife's grandfather bought our kids some that they cashed in a few years ago, but he was up that time. And I listened to that, and they talking about investing in the country. They talking about making America great. I mean, I'm listening to this going about standing up for democracy and freedom. Okay, I know we have problems with race, but I'll send that aside. I'm listening to these old commercials thinking, oh, we don't do that anymore.
no,
We don't. Um, and they talk about being involved in the world. Meanwhile, um, another memo to all you far left assholes who did not vote for Kamala Harris because of the Palestine genocide. You see what's going on right now under Trump? That's a fucking genocide.
yeah,
That's what it looks like. And they're not saying anything. In fact, Trump's saying they should thank me for giving them some food. Meanwhile, there's pictures of starving women and children and bones.
yeah,
All right. And the aid stations have already the Israelis as part of their way to extend. I'm not rephrasing that. Not the Israelis. The Netanyahu government. Let me
right,
clarify the difference between them. The Netanyahu government with conspirators within the Israeli army have turned those aid stations into killing fields.
right.
People were getting get food and they've been shot. There's some soldiers who have defected and tried to tell their story. No one's listening to them. It is a concerted effort. If you can't remove them, live bodies, it's easier to remove the dead ones.
Right.
And when did the Israeli government become the Nazis that they despise? Because this is the same goddamn tactics.
People will come out and say, if you speak against Israel, you're anti-Semitic. And if you want to say I'm anti-Semitic, I don't give a fuck. I'm not anti-Semitic, but we are seeing what we're seeing. We don't get to say that didn't happen just because it was Israel that did it. There's tens of thousands of people that are killed. And I heard somebody talking to somebody from, I don't know where they were from, Israel or whatever, and they said, we understand that when you were attacked in 1200 innocent people were killed. That's tragic. That's
Horrendous.
horrible. And there
Mhm.
should be a response. But then the questioner said, how do you quantify the response in killing 50,000 innocent people? How is that justifiable? And I think that's a good question. How is that possible?
It's how you look at them. This is what drives the immigration thing right now. They don't look at certain people as human beings. Gee, that sound familiar?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the job. Going back to that memo, that the idea of turning those people into terrorists is no different than the Nazi propaganda. And you can look at the old photos of showing Jews eating kids. There are pictures. And that's
Wow.
the thing. The Jewish people, they put them as a threat to Aryan society because they were from the inside ruining the society. That sound familiar? That's what they're working with.
You
That's
know,
how they present it.
I'm going to say something that maybe will piss you off, but I enjoy doing pissing people off. I think a lot of this starts with religions, those religions like
Yes.
Catholicism that say
Mhm.
we're Catholics or we're Jews or we're Mormons, we're the chosen ones. Everybody else are basically not going to heaven and maybe not even really people.
All right.
That's the attitude that's sold in religions. And I think that's where a lot of the problems begin.
It's the like what did I call it? The conservative arm of every religion is like that.
Yeah.
Orthodox Jews, conservative Christians, and Catholics, um, conservative Islam, the radical Islam that they talk about. All of them have one thing. If you listen to their propaganda or what they believe, they all are the same. The other religions are evil, must be destroyed. Women have no place in those religions. Every one of those religions on the conservatives I just spoke of, women are just to be make babies
Right.
and not to be seen. There's no difference in all of them. Christianity has been perverted by that. That pissed
Yeah.
me off. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I've seen it. I've seen too many things done in the name of God through history. Okay,
Yeah.
you can't get away from it. The issue is you cannot justify that after really, really understanding what Christianity says, what Jesus said, because what you're doing is nothing like that. And
Yeah.
even the Quran doesn't do that. Even the Quran doesn't do that. There are always things about helping others. All
Well,
right.
there's always going to be people who look at the Bible, the Quran, whatever, the Torah, the Constitution, who will turn it into a weapon and use it to their advantage by, like you say, perverting
Right.
what it says to fit their agenda.
And we're in. I mean, at times the thing about it is, I look at like what happened. I'm hoping that the Republicans or a lot of those people in Congress don't let Trump get away with this statistic thing because they know it's bad for business, but they're too busy doing other shit.
Yeah.
Apparently, James Comey wants to revisit the Hillary Clinton emails. What are we, 15, 20 years of that from that? 10 years? The woman's not even active in politics since she's stopped running when last ran for president. And this is what you want to do.
Well, and
And then you're talking about, well, go
Donald
ahead, I'm
Trump's
sorry.
got a special counsel to go investigate the special counsel, Jack Smith. It's fucking
Yeah, I saw
stupid.
that. Also, they also, Barry Laudermilk, um, Representative Georgia, is now doing a special committee to investigate the J6 committee and what really happened on January 6th.
What we know what
Uh,
happened prior to January 6th, we know Loudermilk gave a fucking tour to
yes,
terrorists.
but we know what we saw.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, this is all. If you haven't read 1984, go read 1984. I'm telling you,
What
get the
seems
audio book. It's
what
free
seems
on some
what
places.
what seems weird is that they keep doing this. J6, we all watched it on TV and they say, oh, nothing happened. They keep saying that even though we saw it. Donald Trump went to the Smithsonian to take out any references
I
to his
saw that.
impeachments. So does that mean you're not impeached now? No, you're still impeached. We know what the fuck happened. What is this childish little thing for you to try to say it didn't really happen? Is there is there a faction of people that will believe that and not look at the truth?
Yes.
Apparently there is.
Yeah, it's a good, and they're supporters of it because I don't even know. Because to you and I, it doesn't make sense. Taking that out of the Smithsonian means what? I can't go into into Google and go Donald Trump impeachments. Whoop! You can't stop that.
We
That's nothing.
know.
You can't stop it. All right. I know a lot of people were saying, well, social media and Facebook. Yeah, but history is embedded. I mean, they go into the Library of Congress looking for books. What are you going to do? You can't get rid of the information is out there.
Right.
That what they're hoping on. A lot of the things that we have to understand what's going on. I think Gavin Newsom made a good comment once. He's talking about the midterms, and as you can see, the Department of Justice is now really, really going after voter rolls. In Colorado, they asked for the voting machines. The Republican Secretary of State told them to go pound sand. You can't have them. They're pushing voter rolls. The DOJ is looking for them to, I don't know what. They can't do anything. They're state by state. But as I think Gavin Newsom made a good point. They know they're going to get smoked in the midterms. So the only thing
Yeah.
you got to do is cheat, and they're
Well,
just being open about it.
they asked for access to voting machines in Minnesota too, and Minnesota told them to fuck off.
Yeah.
A lot of
Well,
people are telling them to fuck off. I mean, there has to be a line, like with this firing of this statistics commissioner. Um, Ever since he got elected, I always thought there was going to be a red line where the Republicans would go, "Oh, that's too far." And now when I look at this one, how serious this could be, you wonder if that's the red line. But every time they pussy out. They don't push back. And they know it's going to end up badly, but they still go along with Donald Trump. That's the amazing thing to me, the absolute cowardice of the
it's
Republican Party.
the hardest thing with him right now is that we're being run, and I think you said as we were in our prep meeting, I guess, that he's lost his goddamn mind.
I mean,
Because look at
he's always been mentally ill, but he is really mentally ill in an advanced way. I mean, because he's just flailing and he's saying the dumbest things and doing the dumbest things, and he's not thinking beyond the end of his nose. It's all going to end up badly for him, and he keeps doing it. It gets worse every day. There's something mentally wrong
and
with
I
him
think
or diminished.
a lot of things that he does, and I think with his enablers, again, please remember people that really, really follow him, they don't follow him, they worship him.
Yeah.
They really think he's Christ on earth.
Yeah. I know.
That,
It's silly, but
that,
they
that's,
do.
that's, that's, let's be honest. Um, so but he says these things, and I keep getting this idea of this big old toddler that does stuff so people can react to it and makes them giggle, like a
Yeah.
2, 3 year old. You drop something and they like it. It's cute. I
Right.
mean, and he loves the reaction to it. Also, he's very, very sensitive. I mean, who else would send 8 nuclear missile subs to Russia because an old Russian politician made comments about his administration? That's the scary fucking part.
Well, that's the thing. It's so predictable. This is what he does. Anytime somebody says something against him or does something against him, he has to make do something that's intimidating, so they get scared and back off of what they
I'm
said.
not,
He's trying to do that with Rupert Murdoch. I'm going to sue you for $10 billion. Rupert Murdoch says, all right, cool, that's cool. I've been sued for $750 million, so I can deal with it. And then, then he said, when he doesn't do anything, he says, I want him on a stand in 15 days. It's always something bigger because his only strategy is to try to intimidate. When he runs against somebody who isn't intimidated, he's fucked. That's why he
And
backs off like a little pussy on the tariffs.
yeah, and the thing about it's like, and they're the tariffs again. If you're gonna watch the Sunday shows, I will guarantee you, all those people are talking about all the money we're making for tariffs. We keep saying this over and over, motherfucking again, but it doesn't. We'll say it again. Tariffs are not paid to the countries from the countries to the United States. It's part of the goods that are sold by private traders.
Right.
It's that easy, but it's again, it's his mentality to hold on to something even though he knows it's wrong. He knows
Well,
it's wrong.
the thing about it is when he talks about collecting money for the country, he is collecting money for the country off these tariffs, but the money is coming from us. He talks about the tax breaks. He's give biggest tax breaks ever. What he's doing with these tariffs is the biggest tax addition that any
Yeah.
president has ever done. So he's charging more taxes. He's saying, I got $150 billion, but they got it out of you and me and everybody else. It's just so ridiculous that some people still buy into this. I look at Scott Bessent or Lutkin or whatever his name
Yeah.
is.
Those are the ones.
These
Yeah.
people know that's bullshit. They know it's bullshit, but they will side with Donald Trump because they want money and power, apparently. But
I
it's
mean,
all bullshit. Any 4-year-old could figure it out if you explained it to them.
I saw Howard Lutkin before, about 2 weeks ago on a Sunday show saying the countries pay the tariffs, and I'm going, you ran a money management company? You were part of a fund? I wouldn't
Yeah,
want you near my shit because
yeah.
obviously you don't know how the economy works. And again, most people don't know how the economy works. The problem with people overall is that I get money, I spend money, it's too expensive. Why it's too expensive? Oh, it's the president's fault. Okay.
All right.
Now the problem is that even though inflation was getting under control at the last years of Biden, prices are going out of control, but no one talks about it. And going back to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they track prices for certain items. And something that came up that I found, they were tracking the price of beef per cut, like steak, sirloin steak, ground round, certain things, the percentage they've gone out. And I'm not going to go through every percentage, but I did the addition. Beef through all those categories in the last quarter has gone up 11% in
Yeah.
cost overall. Everything is costing more. You can see it, but the mass media ain't talking about that.
No, they really
Inflation,
aren't.
they aren't.
But
They're ignoring it because they're afraid of Trump. I don't know
well,
why
and the
they're
thing,
afraid of Trump. They're afraid of Trump.
no, I don't either. But media's not talking about it. Donald Trump's trying to cover it up. But you can't hide the fact that people are going to experience the strain of that. It's actually money coming out of their pocket. I mean, my electric bill is up 30%. And it's not because I'm using more electric. It's because of the shit he's done with the EPA and the energy stuff. It's costing more, and it's going to continue to get to be more. And people can allow themselves to be fooled by Donald Trump, but at some point they got to realize, fuck, I got no more money left. I used to have money, now I don't have money, and
And they
hopefully
don't
it'll
have
click in their minds at that point.
and they don't have a support system because you voted for a party that doesn't care about you
Right.
on any level. I keep repeating this. I should make a T-shirt of it. To vote Republican is to court death because everything they do leads to bad things happening to you. Case in point, there is still some good local journalism going on. KCAT, I think this is their local TV station in San Antonio. They're journalism people. Obviously, they don't work for Sinclair, thank God. If you don't know who that is, that's a company that owns a lot of little stations, very
Yeah.
conservative. They keep everything in lockstep like Fox News. Bullshit. My son, who wants to work as a copy editor, got an offer from a station in Macon. He was going to take it, and he said it's a Sinclair station. He said, fuck that. I'd rather do something else. My
Yeah.
son has some morals and a lot of balls. A lot of people would have done that. And they did because they got Freedom of Information Act. They got a hold of the text and the emails of the county commissioners of Kerrville during the crisis of the flood, before and
Oh, wow.
after. Before, they were talking about the celebration they were going to have on the river and getting plans for it. Even though the rain was coming, they didn't think it was going to be that bad. That night, it started to get bad, and they couldn't find one of the guys. They didn't even know what the emergency where the emergency command center was. They couldn't get a hold of anyone. They didn't even know what one commissioner was. He vanished. They're trying to get a hold of one. They didn't get a hold of the fire departments until 10:30 the next day, when the water was everywhere. It's
Right.
in the records. These guys did the journalism. You don't hear this shit on the major networks. They did the work. And in fact, there's even the best part was emails from one county commissioner, assistant county commissioner, to another, who was at the press conference when Christy Nome and Greg Abbott were saying nothing and
Right.
doing nothing. I remember that was the most bullshit thing I've ever seen in my life. And that person goes, "Hey, did you meet Homeland Barbie?" And she goes, and he goes, "Yeah, what do you think? I now know why they call her Homeland Barbie." That's from the commissioners themselves.
Wow.
That's how, that's what goes on. These people are fucking incompetent. And the only reason you keep voting for them, because they said they're going to support Trump. Back to the new videos of the town halls. And all you people are mad because they keep saying they're supporting Trump. And I sit and listen to all these people, and the thing that crosses my mind, if you can find each one of those congressmen's campaigns, all they're going to say is, "No, I'm not helping you. My job is to help Trump. If you
Right.
elect me, I will help Trump." The Democratic person is going, "No, we need to do this for you. You voted for him to jump Trump. Now he helps Trump, he's fucking you. He comes back, and they're saying this to him. They show one guy with a smug look in his face. You know why he has a smug look in his face? Not because not because he's indifferent to him, because he knows in his head, come next November, you'll still vote for me because you don't care about anything except your hate and culture. And now you don't care. You in 6 months, you will in about a year, you'll forget and vote Republican again. That's why he's smug.
Republicans should take note of this. These people, when they were campaigning, were supporting Donald Trump, and they were telling you about the amazing things that will happen if we just follow Trump. So we follow Trump, and all hell breaks loose, and disaster occurs. And then their excuse is, "Well, you wanted me to support Donald Trump." They can't even come up with an answer. You're supposed to represent your people. You voted against your people. You knew you were voting against your people. And the only explanation they have is, "Well, Trump did it. It wasn't me, it was Trump." People don't get reelected that way. I mean, you would hope that come the midterms, if people are truly suffering, they'll want to make a change. They'll realize they have to make a change. But as you pointed out, there is a certain percentage of people out there that are just too stupid, won't admit they're wrong, and they will vote for the same people. And I got to tell you, if they suffer mightily, I'll cheer them on. They deserve it.
Yeah, and it's a frustrating thing because it, there's a video people are talking about. Kamala Harris does not want to run for governor of New York, of California. Okay,
Right.
And then she said, I'm just stepping away from politics for a while. She did do a book tour. She did a memoir. She got paid. She walked away. And I'm getting people saying, well, why? Because, just come closer. You told her to go fuck off.
Yeah.
She was the most competent person running for president I think we've ever had, even more than Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Because Hillary Clinton did not have any political expertise until after the Clinton presidency. She
Right.
was from Attorney General in San Francisco, Attorney General of California, Senator of California, Vice President of the United States. She knew how government worked on all these levels. She knew how the Justice Department worked on all these levels. She had a plan. It was practical. But you motherfuckers decided with your misogyny, your racism, because you're going to vote for a black woman, combine those two, and the far
Right.
left thinking that there's some kind of weird ass thing about Palestine. And I don't see you people out there anymore. Where are you? You people voted for Joe Stein on saying that Kamala Harris was going to be worse than Trump on Palestine. Do you really think that now? Because I fucking know if Kamala Harris was president, Netanyahu would probably be out of office by now. Should
I
be
love
pushing
how
hard.
people. I love how people will come out, when things are getting rough here. They'll say, "Well, where's Joe Biden and Kamala Harris?" Who cares? You voted your guy in. He's the one responsible. Let him fix the shit. Joe Biden's retired for all intents and purposes and is ailing. Leave that fucker alone. He did his job. He was one of the most productive presidents in history. What more do you want out of the motherfucker? And Kamala did everything right. She raised a lot of money. She did a good campaign. It was short, not her fault, and she lost. Why now are you looking at Kamala when you were willing to just kick her to the curb? That's what
I
you
mean,
did, and now you want her help. What the fuck is she supposed to
yeah,
do?
I really, she is, except for Donald Trump, because I don't know how that worked. I'm still flabbergasted. Whenever you lose a presidential election, the first Bush did, you vanish.
Yeah,
You're not political viable. Now
yeah,
Trump held on to it because the fake 2020 election, which he's now trying to investigate again because he still thinks he should not have lost. Oh, Jesus Christ. Wasting our resources, wasting our money. Um, bear with me 1 second. Pause real quick.
pause. We're
Yeah.
gonna just pause here for a second and just hold on. You won't even know we're gone. The interesting thing about Kamala, she said this. She said, I'm not running for anything right now, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to fight. I'm going to be speaking out. I'm going to be doing the things I'm going to do. And I think that I want to be able to do that without being transactional. I'm going to say these things and then I expect you to vote for me. So she's not running for the governor's job. And I think maybe she's doing the right thing. After that loss, that was kind of devastating for a lot of people. Maybe just sit back, take a look at how things play out because it's a fucking mess right now, and then decide what you're going to do. Whether you run for the Senate again or whether you run for president or whether you just do a talk show on YouTube. I don't know what the fuck she's going to do, but she's probably best to not jump into it immediately
Yeah.
because, as you said, there's a certain amount of stigma to any politician that loses a presidential race. Just let it rest for a little bit.
Right. And also, it's like, why get involved in that? Because her presence will take away from what Trump's doing. Because they'll
Yeah.
use that, and it's the
Yeah.
same thing. But I mean, I saw this speculative bullshit. Someone said, "Well, we should have a ticket of Kamala Harris and Whitmore." I go, look, stop the fantasy bullshit.
Yeah.
First of all, America is never going to vote for a woman president. The irony I was telling you last week. I was watching For All Mankind. One of the characters female astronauts becomes president of the United States as a Republican, and she's gay.
Well,
And so it's a gay woman president under the Republican flag. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's the only way that's going to happen.
well,
I mean,
I will say this. When you say there'll never be a woman president, I don't agree with that. I mean,
no, no,
we're in a
no,
totally we're at this moment in time with the way things are. Yeah, I'll agree with you. But over the next 3 years and the next 4 years after that, a lot of things are going to change, hopefully for the better. And the climate might be different for a black woman or a black man or a gay woman or whatever. I mean, let's be honest. When Donald Trump was elected the first time, no one thought he was going to win. No one thought he had a chance. But the climate was just right and things were going in the proper direction. And Donald Trump opened his fucking fat orange mouth and it worked. So I think we will get a woman president eventually. I wish it would have been sooner. And I think Kamala at this point, depending on the way this country is and what the Republicans have done and how badly they've destroyed themselves, my gut right now at this time is Kamala probably shouldn't run because I don't know that she can win. But after the fact, when Democrats get control and we kind of get things straightened out a little bit or at least right on track, maybe she can at that point. But she's not getting any younger either. She'll be 64 in 28 and she'll be
yeah,
68 in 32. That's still not too old, but we're trying to get away from the old people
yeah, and I
in
think
politics.
it again. There's other things to fix. There's other things to worry about.
Right,
Part of it is the Democratic Party itself because it's still run by people who have no clue what's going on.
right.
They don't. They fight the wrong fights. They don't know how to fight. We have to force the issue, like I said, in primaries. We talked about that before. We have to force the change in leadership in the Democratic Party. Not give
No
up on the
question.
party. If I hear that one more time from one of these people, I'm going to go independent. If you go independent, you're MAGA. If you tell me you're independent, you're MAGA. Well, both
Yeah.
parties are the same. You're MAGA. Don't sell it to me anymore. It's too much. There's too much on the other side, fascist, racist, all that, to say that the Democratic side, even for its faults right now, is the same. Don't sell me that anymore. And if you buying that, it's because your personal feelings is leaning toward that, but you don't want to admit to your friends that you are that.
Don't,
So stop it.
you know, I was talking to somebody about this and they were saying, how will the Democrats win in 2028? Well, besides the Republicans imploding, I think we should take a look at what the Republicans did and how Donald Trump got to be president. People don't like establishment politics. When you come out and say, my policy is this and my policy is that, and Donald Trump sucks this and Donald Trump sucks that. I don't think that's working because it would have worked with Kamala if it is something that's effective. We're dealing with a different crowd now in terms of the electorate, and we're dealing with less sophistication. So I think what we need to do is do what Donald Trump did: build a candidate with a brand,
Right.
uh, you know, culturally involved, get people riled up, basically doing what an influencer might do on social media. Oh, he excites me. I'm going to vote for him. Doesn't matter what he says.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
unfortunately, that's how this country is right now.
But it was like, and I think in your last live, a gentleman came up and said Bill Clinton. And for a minute, I was resisting it. All of a sudden, I remember the Clinton campaign.
Yeah.
Clinton was a dark horse. Clinton was running against established people. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
Clinton didn't have a great record. Clinton had skeletons in his closet, kind of certain people, but he appealed to people on a level.
He
Okay,
was young, kind of cool.
yeah, the sexual thing and all that, and I knew that if you've ever seen the things with Donahue. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We good?
I can
Okay,
hear you.
okay, with uh, Phil Donahue, I keep forgetting his name, or how to pronounce it. He had Clinton on a couple of times, and then he turned on Clinton one time,
Yeah.
went after him. And I never forgot the audience stood up for Clinton
Right.
like they do for Trump.
Right.
And later on, his infidelities caught up with him, but he was president at the time. Now, he was a competent president because he was a Rhodes Scholar.
Yeah.
Let's be blunt. He was a Rhodes Scholar and he was competent. Was he perfect? No. I mean, the crime bill still was no rights for gay and lesbian people. We
Right.
know that. But that campaign mirrored what Trump did in 16.
Exactly.
It did.
And that's unfortunate that we need to do something like that. I mean, if you go back to Clinton and how he won,
Mhm.
I'm convinced this is how he won because Clinton was the governor of Arkansas. That's like being the manager of 7-Eleven, really,
Pretty
because it's
much.
a small, low budget thing. And if you're in Arkansas, I'm not putting you down. I'm just saying it's a small
No,
state with
no, we
not a
are.
lot of money.
No, we are because we seen your governor. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, that's true. But a lot of things happened that put him in the driver's seat and got him to win the presidency. George H.W. Bush came out and he was extremely popular. And then he said no new taxes. And then the economy went to shit toward the end of his term. And the economy is the big thing for people. So when they when they the economy started going bad, people started souring on George H.W. Bush. But by that time, a lot of the people who would have normally run for president saw how big his popularity was before and said, I don't want any part of that because if I lose this, I'll never get to run again. So here comes Bill Clinton out of fucking nowhere with nothing really behind him. He sits in there. He's kind of young. He's kind of cool. He's very communicative. He gets people's attention and he snuck right in there and won that fucking
Right.
thing. Under normal circumstances, he would have never won. But he did, and he was competent enough to run the country pretty well and actually even balance the budget first time in a long time or ever
Right.
since. Um, so
And it was
so
a
that's
good
what I'm saying.
economy.
We need somebody cool, hip, and be able to charm the people in this country. It sounds bullshit, but that's what we got to do.
Well, look what happened. Who was the president after Ford? Jimmy Carter. Jimmy
Jimmy
Carter
Carter.
was the governor of Georgia, a peanut farmer.
Right.
I mean, and he just had an appeal. Now, I think he got sabotaged to an
Yeah.
extent by the Kennedys because Ted Kennedy was a little pissy that he won that election. No one wanted to touch Kennedy because he had problems,
Well, Carter
huge
had
problems.
an appeal because he was a decent man and he was younger and all that, and he was a military guy and all that. But I think what really got him the election was Gerald Ford pardoned Nixon, and they hated that
Yeah,
motherfucker for
that was
doing
easy.
that.
That was the stupidest thing. Should have prosecuted Nixon to the nth degree, and I think it would have made a difference
Today.
later. Because yeah, today, because then no one could say because that was one of the arguments. It was about Nixon because you can't do that. If they had pushed Nixon to the nth degree, even if you got him a court and he got home home confinement,
Yeah.
okay, at least he'd be convicted.
Right.
Trump couldn't get. And what was the argument? That's what they used under with Trump going to against going to prison. Sorry, nope.
Well, and I would say most people would have saw that if Nixon would have been prosecuted and they'd say, yeah, we probably shouldn't do that. Now, Donald Trump, he's a dumbass. He would have done it anyway, but at least there would have been some accountability for him.
I mean, I don't think Nixon would have been Trump if they had taken to the nth degree. Probably would have been given a prison sentence. I think Nixon would have been convicted, and then some kind of deal would have been cut because what he did was lie and cover up. And there was the break-in, but it's not as bad as what trying to bring the government down
What they
or
should have
stealing
probably,
classified
if they
documents.
were if they were going to pardon him anyway, they should have prosecuted him, found him guilty, make him
Then
look like a
part.
sad character, and then pardon him. That's what they should have done. At least people saw that something was made to be accountable.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, those are things. But going back to, yeah, we need that. And
Yeah,
maybe Gavin Newsom is that. Maybe,
he might be.
that he might be that. Even JB Pritzker might be that. I've seen the guy work. He's really good.
Yeah,
Maybe that. But where you just said, fuck it, and just go. Maybe it's someone out of the blue, like a Mondani, who was appealing to people in New York.
yeah,
I mean, you don't know who's there. But the thing about it is, we have to look at it from that standpoint because it's really easy. If you're a popular person, you have so much things to run on. They have the cleansing, the economy falling apart. I mean,
yeah.
it's the economy, stupid. I mean, that's the one thing they said with Clinton. That could work, but you got to find the right person who doesn't rub people the wrong way.
Right. Well, you in this world, we find it out too that you got to have somebody with charisma and personality that people can relate to, but he still needs to be a fighter. He needs to point out some
Yes,
things and some wrong things, and that's where Gavin Newsom comes in. He's good at both.
yeah, he's been Trump's he's been whacking Trump pretty hard.
Yeah.
He really has. And
And
the best thing that happened for Newsom, I think, he was playing that middle Charlie Kirk type of thing. Then I showed up in Los Angeles and
yeah,
brought military. And at that point, he said, "Oh, okay, I can't fuck with these people anymore." And I hope he keeps that same mentality because you can't. There is no middle with these people. There
no,
is no compromise. There is no hand holding. These people will eat you. They will grab you and suck you in and hurt and eat you alive. What you need to do is fight like that, and he's doing it now.
yeah.
But hopefully that stays. I don't want. That's the thing. If you're a Democrat and talking about bipartisanship, go away.
Yeah, you shouldn't be
All the way.
involved in the conversation.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
the other guy too that is pretty strong. He's young. He's not afraid. Is Georgia Senator Ossoff. I really like that guy.
yeah. But I don't think he's got those type of what's the word I'm looking for?
National appeal.
No, not national appeal. He could get national appeal if they pushed him. What's the word I'm for? His goal. I don't see a presidential goal in him. What he wants. I don't think he has an ego like that now. Maybe later.
Really?
Yeah, I don't
Maybe
see.
he's young enough.
Yeah, he's young enough, but I don't see he's doesn't give me the idea of someone who wants to be president. You got to want it.
Yeah.
You got to be literally. If you want something like that, let's be honest. You kind of have to be a selfish prick, and you have to want it. You got to drive toward it. You have to strategize for it. You may have to leave, people behind in your wake. And that's what you have to do. And if you look at Clinton, it was a shrewd campaign.
Yeah.
Didn't leave people behind his wake. And the problem is when Gore tried to run, Gore didn't have that, and he lost to
No.
Bush because the younger Bush, because he just couldn't
Well,
get
and
people up.
Gore was kind of one dimensional. He didn't have much
Yes.
charisma. He wasn't cool. He wasn't good. He was a politician. He might have
Mm-hmm.
been a good politician, but in this world, being a good politician isn't enough. You've got to be kind of a fucking entertainer. You've got to
Right.
be able to suck these people in, culturally and entertain them.
And,
And it's a sad state of affairs if that's the case in this country. But the facts are the facts. That's what it's going to take. And maybe
and
Kamala didn't have that entertainment value.
yeah, I mean, she was really good at what she did. I mean, but
Yeah.
I think, and I thought she was personal, but I think, again, black woman. I will
Yeah.
hang on that to the day I die, because let's be honest. Um, but if you look at,
And I think it was the woman part more than the black. Honestly, I do believe that.
well, just a cherry on top of that, if you
Yeah.
know what I mean. Because she was personal and she did relate with people, and I've seen her, but
She's
they always made,
articulate.
yeah, and they always made fun of it. Donald Trump could dance with his jerky motion to YMCA, and they say, "Oh, is that cute?" But she does that with a rap beat, and they go, she's
Yeah.
one of
Yeah.
them thugs." You see, that's the way they. That's the hardest things because we're talking about people who didn't have to face social media. Not
Right.
even Clinton. If Clinton had to say social media, I don't know how that would have gone.
Yeah.
If you
True.
think about it. So that's the thing. Social media, what we do, what everyone does, is also the problem is also being twisted. Those of you on the TikTok community, I mean, they banned Chasing Oz.
Yeah.
I follow her Chasing Oz. She's really bright. She's to the point. 3 million followers, and they yanked her.
Yeah.
And I'm going, oh, and I begin to wonder what happened to me on the smaller scale for those two accounts. Was TikTok getting ready to take on the bigger accounts?
That could be.
Her, the empathy tour. I mean, their reports and looking to get Aaron Parnas. Um, I think they're getting prepared to turn into X, whoever's going to buy it.
Well, there's definitely going to be some changes, and I'm at a point now with TikTok. My views are down some, even though I have a lot of followers or peers. That means the creator fund. I'm making a lot less money than I was making
Right,
before, and I'm not worried about that. Frankly, I don't do it for the money per se. Uh, and if it continues down this track and people start getting banned and maybe I get banned or whatever, I'm willing to let that fucking go. Because whether I have a huge audience or a medium audience or a small audience, it doesn't matter. I'm going to still keep
yeah,
talking. I've got Spotify, I got YouTube, I got Substack, I got, if TikTok goes away or changes dramatically where it doesn't make any sense anymore, the only thing that would upset me about leaving TikTok is the responsibility I feel to the people that are the
yes,
peers.
I
They
know.
want if they expect me to be there every day to do what I do, I'm going to feel bad if I can't do that for them.
Yeah, and that's and I saw Empathy Tour, and that he got hammered because he basically announced on 4th of July he's running for Congress against that old biddy Virginia Fox.
Right,
That
right.
woman is basically if
She's
there's
a
the
fucking
word
corpse.
shrew, she's a shrew.
Yeah. She's a
And
shrew. There's no question
and
about it.
and and that's when everything went sideways. That just tells you, as one person, he got swarmed. You get enough of these people reporting, and then the AI, and he showed on his backup account that they didn't take the appeal because of violence. What the fuck? I mean,
Yeah.
and he had no warning. And again, someone who's been through it, they give you no warning. They just do it. You don't
Yeah.
even get a chance to appeal, and the appeal is, yeah, whatever, fuck you.
Yeah.
And, and
Yeah.
it's sad
I'll
that they
just take it
don't.
for whatever it is. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'll just keep going as long as I
But
can
yeah,
or as long as I feel it's safe.
but like people can get on there on the far right or MAGA and say things that are just. I mean, they are now. Do you know what the new Epstein defense is?
Why?
Joe Biden did it before. Joe Biden molested his daughter. Joe Biden molested other kids. Blah 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 blah. What the
Well,
fuck are you talking about?
yeah.
Wow,
Well, they'll
these people
they'll
are
do
desperate.
they'll they'll do anything. They'll say anything, whether it's true or not. And since we're talking about Epstein, I wanted to bring this up because I'm
Yeah,
curious as to what you think. We've got this whole um, Ghislaine Maxwell thing. Todd Blanche goes out there, secret conversation. We don't know what was going on there. Donald Trump is saying, I haven't thought about pardoning her, but I could if I wanted to, which is a sign that he's thinking about it. Um, and then they move her to her to a camp fed from where she was before, which they aren't legally supposed to be able to do because she's a sexual offender. They can't move her to a better place, but they did it anyways, as Donald Trump typically does. And people are suggesting that this means he's going to pardon her. And I'm not so sure he's going to pardon her. He may want to, but I think the people around him are going, that's going to burn down the whole fucking place. For me, I hope he does, because I don't know how safe Ghislaine Maxwell's going to be walking to the car out of the fucking jail cell. But if he does it, he's pretty much surrendered.
You bring that up, and everyone who follows me or we do this podcast know that I'm a big movie guy, and I will relate movie scenes
Yeah,
to certain things. And what I was thinking about was that scene in Silence of the Lambs when they take Hannibal Lecter and give him a proposal to move him to a lesser facility for information about Buffalo Bill.
right.
And they were willing to move this facility. And then he goes out on this island and they give him one with security and all that, but we're willing to do that for this information. He is the worst human being ever described in literature. If
Right.
you've ever read the books or seen the movie,
Yeah.
Anthony Hopkins was brilliant. Jodie Foster was brilliant in the movie. But he was going for it until it was ruined later on. But I think that's the same thing that they're doing.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
Ghislaine Maxwell is going to find out that they're lying to her and something's going to be in the back pan of that package. But if you're offering Maxwell a known human sex trafficker, a predator, a deal to move her to Club Fed and then maybe possibility of pardon, you are no better than offering a deal to Hannibal Lecter because
well,
they're the
yeah,
same fucking people.
and now you're absolutely attached to a sexual predator. The if Democrats
Well,
are on top of it, they'll say, well, they support sexual predators, they support sexual child traffickers, and they
mm-hmm.
should pound the shit out of that. But here's the thing about Ghislaine. It may not be the same thing as Hannibal Lecter, and here's why. If because Todd Blanche went to see her. It may not be, the deal may not be, you give us information, we'll send you to another place. The deal may be, don't give any information and we'll move you to another place, or lie about the information and go to another place. But I got to tell you, if she sits in front of Congress or sits in a courtroom and lies, she can get rearrested again and put in fucking jail.
And also, I don't. There's also a movement to say she was innocent.
Oh, shit.
Newsmax is pushing that, and the idea behind it is if Epstein supposedly groomer, and that's who she is, the
Yeah.
groomer, the person who brought these children in to be molested by people like Donald Trump. Yes, I could say it on YouTube and Spotify. Um, if they can get her that to be shown, oh, that's a total mistake. She's innocent. The thing about it is, then they can say, oh, all the Epstein files is a lie. And Trump was never part of that. That's the strategy. Now, the only problem is they can't prove he's innocent. You're going to have to get to the mistrial. And they're sure as well. Here's the problem. If they get to a mistrial, normally the Department of Justice will retry it or the local courts will retry it. But you
Right.
got to, and here's the thing I'm hearing they're trying to push that she was convicted under the Biden administration. No, she was convicted under the Trump DOJ. And in Florida, under Pam Bondi, who was AG of Florida at the time.
Right.
So the idea is if they can get a mistrial, they'll just wash their hands of it and walk away. And then they can say, well, nothing there, nothing there. That's the goal.
Well, here's
That's
the
the
problem.
immediate goal.
If they say there's no crimes, nothing, we're just washing it away, that would be what they would normally try to do, just try to cover everything up. But then please explain why for the last 5 years you've been telling us it's horrific and there's pedophiles and there's a cabal and they're killing children and they're drinking their blood and doing that. You can't all of us, and this is the problem they have with the Trumplefucks. You teased them, you fed them the red meat and said, oh, this is horrible, this is horrible, we're going to expose it. And then you go in there and you say, oh, nothing here. Immediately they become suspicious of you because it looks like a cover up. And frankly, that's what this whole thing is. It's a cover up. And we know the cover ups end up going far worse than the crime itself.
That's true, but how many of those people will go, oh, okay? I mean,
I
let's
don't,
be honest. Be honest. I mean, come
I
on.
think some will. I think some will, but I think there'll be a lot that won't because they were so convinced of this, and Donald Trump kept pounding on it, and so did everybody else. I think you'll have a small faction of people that will stick with them no matter what, but a lot of them are really disappointed. I mean, you even have these bro podcasters like Rogan and Schultz and some of these other ones saying, "Now this is fucked up." They're smart enough to realize this looks like a cover up, and if they start talking about it, the young people, which are the people that are going to be voting in 2028, are going to say, yeah, what the fuck?
Maybe I'm a cynic. Maybe because again, I could shoot someone in Fifth Avenue and I still get votes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's there is a slickness to Trump even right now in his madness
Yeah.
that he can't get around it. We had opportunities to nail him, but he kept being protected on levels I still don't understand. I don't get
Yeah. It
how
makes no
that man
sense.
was not in jail for at least the classified documents. Oh, he caught the right judge. I
Right.
mean, no one's that lucky in
No.
life, and
But
it's just like, go ahead. I'm sorry.
don't you agree that Donald Trump is a lot weaker as a president, as a candidate, as a human than he was in the first term? So much has
Well,
been exposed. He's run through the ringer. He's 79 now. Clearly, he's mentally ill. He's not quite the powerful figure that he was in the first term. And I think that's going to be his failing.
I'm going to disagree on one point
Okay.
because when he was the first time, he had hired the people around him were career politicians and people. Now they
Right.
were Republicans, but they were just aghast of the shit he was doing or wanted to do, and they fought him every inch of the way, especially in the Pentagon. They fought him. They really did. I mean, all the things that he did horrendous. It was bad, but they fought him. It could have
Yeah.
been worse.
Yeah.
Now he got the second bite of the apple. Those people aren't around anymore. He got rid of the career bureaucrats and politicians whose job basically was to stand up the government. And now you have the sycophants and true
Well,
believers
and
and
I'll
cult.
disagree with you on something here too. He does have the sycophants and the losers and the idiots. And maybe it's because he wanted those people in there. But I think something that has to do with it is those reasonably minded, fairly professional people wouldn't dip their toe in the water again and work for that motherfucker again because they know how it's going to go.
Well, a lot of them burned their bridge with him when on
Yeah.
January
Yeah.
6th.
Most of them.
And the problem is now is they don't want it there. He couldn't hire him. Now what does he get? And that's what
Yeah.
we ran through the cabinet earlier. Part of it. This is what you get. And the
Right.
problem is that the mechanics, Project 2025 and the Heritage Foundation got their hooks in there. And the mechanics of government to them is no government but what we say.
Right.
Again, they are designing to break the government to replace it with a fascist Christo nation. It's simple as that. It's no bit different than the Taliban, which
Right.
is with a cross instead of
Different
with a cross.
religion.
Yeah, it just doesn't matter. I saw something in Nashville. They're talking about Governor Bill Lee, who is jealous of Greg Abbott because he's got to be bad. He's got to be worse than Abbott.
Right.
They're trying to de-charter the city of Nashville. They want to
Decharter it.
decharter. Yeah, because they got this from the president of the Heritage Foundation. You saw that guy, the guy who said we're in the middle of a second revolution that would
Yeah.
be bloodless if they get out of the way. He was in Tennessee at a conservative whatever, and he was telling that if you have a problem in Nashville, just decertify him, just decharter them and take it over as a state mandated area. You run it from the state capital, which is Nashville, right? I'm trying to remember.
State
It's
capital is, no, I think it's like Chattanooga or something.
no Tennessee. Yes, it's
Hold
Chattanooga.
on. Let me
Well, better
check
look.
here.
And everyone's in the comments going, I know what it is. Um, and I know it's on there. It is Chattanooga. Is it Chattanooga? I think it is.
No, it says Nashville.
It's Nashville.
It's
Okay.
Nashville.
So
Yeah.
so basically, the capital of Georgia is Atlanta. Okay.
Right.
Then in Atlanta, you got the state area, you got the city area. That's the equivalent of Governor Kemp saying the city of Atlanta no longer exists. It's only the state capital of Atlanta, and we will run everything from the state capital. The city council has now been dissolved. The mayor no longer exists. The city police and all the functions will come out through the state. We will appoint someone, a commissioner, to run that part of the state capital of Atlanta.
But
That's what they want to do.
wouldn't that destroy a lot of the economic value in
They
Tennessee?
don't care.
People would,
They don't care. They don't care. It's about power.
yeah,
It's all about power. And Bill Lee is one of the worst.
yeah,
He
true.
runs under the radar because Greg Abbott's is worser. Yeah, he's
Worse.
horrendous. I know it's bad. He's horrendous, but he does this stuff, and that's what they want to do. You're having a problem with the city of Nashville, and you're the state capital. Fuck them. They're in the state capital. That's your land. Take it. And that's what's going on in Nashville.
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to do in Nashville
Wow.
because the Republicans, uh, with Party 2025, want a one-party country, a one-party system. The Mexicans had that for years with the PRI, and they did
Yeah.
not do well until it broke apart and it was a chaos until they got it straightened out. But that's what we're dealing with. That's why you see what's going on in these red states with them pressing to consolidate their power because they know the majority of people don't want to do it. But if you can keep the minority in power, then you're good.
Right.
And that's the biggest fight that everyone keeps losing sight of, that the national fights are bad. But the problem we have right now is that the Democrats took their eye off the ball on the local fights.
Right.
And the ones that drive a lot of the elections, drive a lot of the policy. That's why when Roe v. Wade fell, it became a disaster for women because states' rights means we're going to take everything from you.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense, but they did. Now you got J.D. Vance running around, we should have a federal law of a woman who of childbearing age enters another state, they should be tested for pregnancy and see if they're pregnant to make sure they're not trying to get an abortion.
But they have
I
to,
mean,
they have to have the agreement of the state she's going into. And chances are it's a blue state and they're never
no,
going
no,
to
no.
agree to
They'll
that.
just put up federal troops before you leave. They'll
Oh,
set up
well,
right
yeah.
there, and then see. These are the things that are one. They literally now have a bill in Congress to ban anime,
Anime?
Japanese anime, because it's porn.
Oh,
And I'm sitting there going, what are you talking about? This is what Republicans think. They have no idea. I mean, that's important. Of course, that's a violation of the First Amendment to the core. It's
yeah.
not, I mean, it's stupid shit like this, but it feeds the base.
Right.
It feeds the base because that's what they want. I mean, understand how did TikTok get into these problems? Because they got enough people to convince them that the Chinese were running around in our data and were a threat to the federal government. And why Joe Biden signed that motherfucking bill, I don't know. Why he got convinced. That was
Yeah,
dumb.
it
But
was dumb.
that's yeah, and so that's what we're dealing with on the election on a as a resistant level. I mean, right now there are protests in Los Angeles against Palestine, against ICE, and LAPD is showing up. It's a peaceful protest, and they're arresting people. But the cameras are facing ICE, the Ed Roybal building where ICE is. They're not covering the protest. They're not covering the arrest. And why the fuck the LAPD is still doing this? Hey, Karen Bass, rein in your fucking police department,
Yeah,
because this is why ICE is all over everyone. Again, until a politician on the Democratic side with power wields the power like a hammer, like the Republicans do, we're going to keep getting shit like this. Do you know
yeah.
ICE is, this is how bad it is. I don't know if it's recruitment or just tell you they don't give a fuck. You
No,
join ICE, they'll forgive your student loans. I thought you guys said pay it, blah, blah.
why
I
don't they
mean,
pay their student loans?
and now it's even worse is that a lot of local sheriffs and police departments are going, ICE is coming in trying to poach their people,
Yeah,
take their officers and turn them into federal officers. The idea being in that they got local people they can use. Sheriffs are getting pissed because it's A, taking away their manpower, and B, it makes them look bad like they're supporting ICE.
right.
See, and that's the thing. We are still dealing with the reason that Republicans still have a root is that they are feeding the hate of their base. They really would not care if they're sitting on the ground eating dirt as long as they can watch people of color getting arrested and cheering.
Well, then
And
let
you know
them eat
that's
dirt.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
because they said that because that dirt will taste better to them. Because that's
apparently.
what we're dealing with. I mean, and you know what's going on in Alligator Auschwitz. There's a hunger strike. They're trying to bring the plight. No one's talking about it again. The it's just the mass media has so failed us on this. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
they have been complicit with all the things that we're dealing with right now, and we have to address that once this whole regime is done. We're getting toward the end, and I wanted to bring up something else that you brought up to me. You were talking
Mhm.
about Pete Hegseth and what's going on in the Defense Department. We got Pam Bondi in the DOJ. There is a lot of chaos and a lot of dissension and a lot of problems in both those departments.
Right.
What were you talking about with Hegseth? I mean, I know
Oh
he's
yeah,
on the
exit.
verge of
So
quitting and
yeah,
all
there
that.
was a yeah. I thought we had talked about it. I guess we were talking about it before. What happened is there's and again Aaron Parnas and I found an article. The New Republic newspaper got a hold of a leaked memo
Hmm.
saying that was written by Pete Hesketh's brother. Gee, no
Right.
nepotism here.
No.
Who is encouraging Pentagon officials to approve a plan to use the military like they did in Los Angeles, but has stepped up for immigration control and arrest because his reasoning is undocumented aliens or immigrants are as big a threat as cells of ISIS and cells of ISIS in the country and terrorism. So they're
Wow.
equating terrorism with undocumented workers. Last time I checked, a lot of those people who worked in restaurants or farms weren't terrorists,
Yeah.
and they weren't, planning the fall of the American government. But this asshat has basically put that out there. And the thing about it is, I was a little taken back about it. I was getting a little aggravated because then I remember It was leaked.
Right.
Who leaks it? That people want other people to be aware that this is their plans for the Defense Department and want you to be aware so you can put some pressure on people to answer these questions. Because again, if you try this in cities, you take the lid off, it's on.
Yeah.
Because again, they keep thinking that American people in certain areas are going to capitulate. ICE has gone into Chicago and had to run. ICE has gone into Compton and East LA and had to run. Compton went into Little Haiti and got their ass beat. The point is, unless you want to send in the military, and if you do, you're going to find out that a lot of those people have the same type of weapons you do. And unless you're willing to leave bodies on the ground, this is what's going to happen. Because that's the thing. They really don't think that people are willing to fight to that point.
I'm a little
I mean,
surprised. I think this is inevitable, but I've been seeing the videos of how they break windows on cars, drag people out, take innocent women and children. They beat them. We're hearing about horrible treatment in Alligator Alcatraz, people beaten and tortured and stuff like that. I mean, it's just abhorrent. How long is it going to be before an ICE agent goes into the wrong part of town and an ICE agent gets killed? I think that seems to be inevitable. I mean, if I'm in my house someday and I live in a stand your ground state and they break into my door and I blow them away as soon as they're inside my house, I'm perfectly legal to do that.
yep.
That's going to happen at some point. It
It,
seems inevitable.
it's building up to that. And some people say, well, that's what they want. They're going to declare martial law. And I keep saying that, then do it.
Do it.
If you
Yeah.
do it, how are you going to do it?
Yeah.
Who's going to cooperate? You're going to have the states cooperate with the National Guard? I'm sure as hell the blue states, are you going to national? That would be insane.
Right.
Do it and see what happens. See the cooperation you don't get. I mean, I think some people in the Pentagon still have common sense to know if you try that, it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
And they know they really haven't pressed. I mean, like Tom Homan said, I'm going to send a bunch of people to New York. I haven't seen that materialize.
No.
Why? Because you don't want to do it. I mean, they've done some in Chicago, but Chicago pushed hard.
Yeah.
LA hasn't. LA hasn't pushed because I think part of it is that the LAPD is keeping these people off them. But I swear they're going to do something. They're going to do something that's going to set something off that you can't stop, i.e.,
Right.
George Floyd. You
Well,
couldn't
that's
stop
that's
that.
exactly that's exactly right. When people have to remember, we had one incident, one video, and the fucking country exploded. And like you say, they weren't able to stop it. Nobody was able to stop it. From Portland, Oregon to Minneapolis to Atlanta to wherever this shit was going on, that one little thing set everything off. And the, they're walking in dangerous territory in what
Yeah.
they're doing now.
Well,
Some
there's a video, and as we're coming to the end, there's a video, you can find it, of an ICE agent arresting a woman, and he wasn't being brutal about it. It's just that her daughter, who's about 7 or 8, was holding on to her mother and begging the officer not to take her,
Yeah,
begging her. And the officer saying, I have to do it. It's my job. And she's telling the mom in Spanish, telling the girl to calm down, but she won't let go of mom till they drag the child off her and arrested the mother. And I kept hearing that officer and I kept thinking, yeah, I heard that before, motherfucker, at Nuremberg.
right,
And
right.
so it doesn't have to be violent to be heartbreaking, but the problem still to right now, not enough people think it's an issue. They think they're solving a problem still.
They do.
And
And
that's
I think
part of the
there's
problem right now.
when this is all said and done, Donald Trump's gone, MAGA's weak, Democrats may be in power. There is going to be a lot of people, and I've said this before after seeing these videos. I think what should be done is the next president of the United States goes in and say, I don't care what your budget is. Everything with ICE is suspended
Yeah,
until we figure out what the fuck's going on. And then we need to investigate everybody involved in this whole process because it's been illegal from top to bottom. It's been unconstitutional. I'm talking about Kristi Noem, Tom Homan, every ICE member. They need to be investigated. They need to be prosecuted if they committed crimes against humanity, which they have done, and then they need to be jailed. And the just desserts would be put them in the very detention centers they built to put immigrants in. But they need to be held accountable. And these people apparently don't think that day will ever come. And I'm sorry to tell
no,
you, it will come.
there's a history, and we've discussed this again. History has shown that these regimes end badly.
Yeah,
And when they end, those people who were willing participants of it end up either in jail or there's a lot of rope involved.
right.
And this one, there's going to be a reckoning. I don't, there won't be Merrick Garland to save your ass this time.
Yeah.
No. And the other thing that's going to happen too, if this gets really bad, if you are an ICE agent or you try to hide, people will drag you out of your corners
Yeah.
and they will take stuff into their own hands
They will.
because, yeah, because you think, you guys, and I see you and I hear you guys in the videos, you think you're hot shit now. You will end up somewhere you don't want to be someday. You're going to run across the wrong person eventually. Like you said, it's going to happen
Yeah.
because
It's
the
got
problem
to.
is, yeah, because again, the politicians with power won't stop it
Right.
because they don't think it's a problem. And again, slowly but surely, it's coming off Hispanics and moving to other people of color. So if you guys on that side think they're not coming for you, you're out of your goddamn minds.
And we know you're
Because
already scared because you wear masks. We
yeah,
know you're
and,
scared already. So just
and
be scared.
Stephen Miller's goal is a white America that never existed.
Right.
And if I hear one more motherfucker say that America was built by white people because there was nothing here, are you out of your minds? There was thriving societies here in America.
Yeah.
They were just the only problem with those societies that they did not discover gunpowder.
Well, and the thing about it is even when the white people did get here, they can't claim victory as far as building this country. They had to have slaves, people of color, fucking build
Right.
this country.
And they deny. I keep hearing this over and over again. And I keep thinking, who taught you history? Where did that go?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not woke. Look, I was a fan of all the John Wayne films. I understand. I mean, love those
Us
cowboy
too.
stuff. Yeah. But I understand also in listening to like old radio show Gunsmoke, the reason the army was in those areas because literally they took the land from the Native Americans, pushed them into reservations, and they were fighting the Native Americans who were fighting against the army for taking their land. That
Right.
was colonialism
Yeah.
to the T. The people, so one of my teachers said the reason that the United States didn't get involved in colonial activity like in Africa and all that because they were doing their own colonial activity inside the United States
Right.
against Native Americans. Once they got done, then they went to the Philippines and etc. And
Right.
she was right. And again, I love those old films, but I also take them with a grain of salt because I know what it's about.
Right.
And the point is, all you people who keep trying to do revisionist history, it ain't going to work.
No.
because most of us aren't that stupid. You are, and you could try to sell it, but it ain't going to work because I mean, they're picking up like Navajo Indians and they're going, where are you going to deport me? I mean,
And I tell you
it's,
what, I've had some experience with the Navajo people, because I lived in Arizona for a short time, for maybe a year, and I was young. This was 40 years ago. But they're some of the nicest people you'd ever meet. Industrious. They're talented. They're calm. They're friendly. To do that to that group of people, I find appalling. But
yeah,
they
I
don't
know.
care. They don't care what kind of people are that they
I,
hurt. If they look different, that's all that matters.
I remember when we went to Hawaii years ago for my brother's wedding, we were on the Big Island. And the best thing about that trip is that we drove around to Hilo and all that. Wherever I stopped, everyone thought I was Hawaiian.
Yeah, yeah,
And it was kind of cool because I'm getting, let's go, brother. Okay. I mean, I didn't and the ironic thing about it is that at the resort, we went to do something and the lady goes, are you local? So you'll go, no. It was a white woman telling me, are you local? No. Oh, you really? You look like some of people I know.
yeah.
Okay, cool. I mean, but the point was they know who you are. There's a native thing which I enjoyed. And the problem right now is that I don't know what you get out of it thinking that if you make America one color and some weird version of culture, it's the best thing. Because it's not. I
No,
thought America was built on parts.
it's all about fear. They're afraid of being the minority and all the horrible things that might occur because of that. They're just all terrified little fucking children, and they strike out
What
like little children do.
I was thinking, and as we're coming to that, but I'm going to end it with this. I remember, sadly, the Corporation of Public Broadcasting had shut down
Right,
because their funding's been disconnected. So sad. Um, but one of the products of the CPB was Ken Burns' Civil War.
right,
If you have not seen that documentary, please go find it. It's one of the greatest documentary about America and the Civil War and America. But because the historians were brilliant in there, and they were talking at the end what the war was kind of about. And the historian who was talking said before the Civil War, they referred to the United States R as a
right,
plural. At the end of the Civil War, after everything was brought together again, the United States is a singular. The
right,
problem what MAGA and Trump has done is turn us back to the United States are.
right.
And
That's
you can see
absolutely
why.
true.
Yeah. And we, as true Americans, need to get back to the United States is.
Right.
And that's the thing we should look at, that they have perverted everything that those people died for to benefit themselves. And
Yeah, it's almost a
that's sad.
misnomer to call ourselves the United States because we aren't united.
No, unfortunately, but we'll get there again. I'm hopeful that the worst case
Well, here,
scenario. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, history tells us it will change and it will get for the better.
These these regimes can't last. Their own
Yeah,
incompetency drags them down. I mean, they may talk about North Korea, but I don't think that's an aberration.
no,
I don't see how this, with Americans and American mentality, is going to last maybe another year. And I don't know how long Trump's health is going to hold up because that man ain't
yeah.
looking good.
He's not sounding good either. I mean, he sounded especially confused and especially diminished. Um, the Republicans will never own up to it, but eventually it'll just become embarrassing. I mean, it's already become embarrassing. The whole thing with firing this lady,
Oh,
that is a bad step, and even Republicans are saying, "What the fuck
well,
are you doing?"
that and amongst everything, announcing you're building a $200 million ballroom.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there going, why? They don't have parties at the White House. They have state dinners. They
Right.
have,
Well,
that's
he
it.
the ironic thing is he wants to build a $200 million ballroom, and he's bitching at Jerome Powell about renovating the Fed and bitching about something that was done 5 years ago. I mean, this is what he does.
And this,
It's silly. Nobody with a brain would make that
but
argument.
here's, but the thing about it is that, Rick Wilson had said, anything Trump touches dies. Did you see what happened to the Rose Garden?
No, but I can imagine.
Yeah, so it started under Melania when she started ripping it out, especially Jackie Onassis's um, part of it. They finally completed their work on the Rose Garden. There is no Rose Garden. It's now flat concrete.
Perfect.
It's just a flat pavilion concrete. And I looked and I saw the picture. I'm going, yeah, that's Donald Trump's soul.
Yeah, it
That
is.
is Donald Trump's soul. Flat, featureless, has no beauty to it, just empty.
It's like that old song, "Pave paradise and put up a parking lot." That's who Donald Trump
Exactly,
is.
exactly.
Yeah.
And he did. And it's sad to see that because the White House was supposed to be the people's house. Now he's
Yeah.
turning into a Trump hotel, a
Turn it into
tacky Trump
a
hotel.
brothel, a tacky
Oh my,
Trump hotel brothel. Well, Will, I'm going to wrap things up for the
yeah.
Rational Boomer podcast. I want to thank you for coming on. Let folks know where they can find you. They need to find you.
Okay. Again, from the last time we spoke, I'm now at 105 subscribers. Thank you on YouTube. Like to
Nice.
get to 150. That's nice. Thank you guys for listening there. You can find me on YouTube, Binder 38 US on YouTube. You can find me on Substack on Binder 38 US. Again, videos fight me, but I'll probably do more lives there, political lives. On TikTok, I am Kumquat, KUMQUAT6. I did a live the other day, but I didn't talk politics. I talked entertainment and movies
Wow. That's fun.
because it was kind of interesting and went on tangents and it was kind of fun. I may do that more often because I don't trust them. I don't
Yeah.
trust them
No, I
at all.
agree.
Also, yeah. So at Substack, I think I'm gonna do more political there. Um, yeah, that's where you can find me. Reach out to me if you want to email me for anything. I have an email, which is binder38us@outlook.com, so you can reach me there if you like. But yeah,
Substack
reach out.
Substack's a
Cause
good place to do lives, but yesterday I did a live on YouTube for the first time in a long time. Um, and it went pretty well. It took a little while to get people in there, but once they came in, it went pretty well. My only problem with YouTube is that after you're finished, it takes so fucking long to render it down so that you can put it on other platforms. I
mhm,
mean, fortunately, I was a day ahead, so it worked out. But it didn't render down. I ended at like 11:30
mhm,
Central Time, and I wasn't able to download it until noon the next day. It took that long to
wow.
process. It's fucked up.
But
Yeah,
it
I can't do
wasn't.
that in short notice.
So you didn't have any problems. Well, I'm assuming MAGA shows up in droves on YouTube.
I You would think so, and they have in the past. There was only a couple, and I was able to block them
Okay,
because I didn't have anybody helping me out. But it wasn't that bad with MAGA yesterday, so I don't know.
that's a problem. But yeah, that's my goal. But we'll just keep doing what we're doing. And just again, guys, try not to get totally, oh my God, reaction. Just get pissed off because
Yeah,
that's
just get
better.
pissed off.
Get pissed off because the reaction they want for especially these people is like, okay, I quit. I had enough of it. You know what? It's flooding the zone. Just get pissed off or recognize, like we were talking about the Pentagon thing, look for what's going on really.
Yeah.
And I think that makes your life a lot easier than reacting to everything. Um, and yes, I know Aaron Parnas is a source of news, but sometimes I think he needs to look at certain things in a certain way. I know he's reporting the news, but we have to kind of people go into panic mode too easy nowadays. And panic mode means
Yeah.
I'm going to quit. Don't quit.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
quit. Just get mad.
Fight. Don't be a pussy. That's
No,
the only
that's
thing I can tell you right now.
there you
That's
go.
what you got to do. All right. For those of you listening, I want to thank you for taking the time to do that. I hope you have a great day. We will talk to you again tomorrow.